What happens when three ordinary friends and a mischievous dog decide to escape the chaos of city life for a simple boat trip down the river? Welcome to Book Leash, where today we dive into three men in a boat, a timeless tale full of laughter, mishaps, and unexpected moments of friendship. Get ready to join this hilarious journey and discover why sometimes the best adventures are the ones that don't go according to plan. They weren't heroes. They weren't outlaws. They weren't even particularly good at rowing. Just three ordinary men and a dog who thought escaping London's pressure with a calm river trip would clear their minds and refresh their souls. It was supposed to be simple, peaceful, a retreat into nature. But what actually happened was a slow unraveling of pride, pretense, and the absurdity of being human. Jay, George, and Harris, names as plain as their intentions, planned to spend a few days drifting up the Thames. Nothing extravagant, just a boat, a tent, and the illusion that they are in control. But from the very beginning, it's clear. The river has its own sense of humor. The packing goes wrong. The gear list grows with every breath. Half of what they bring is unnecessary, the other half they forget. The more they try to prepare, the more chaos creeps in. But they convince themselves they are adventurers, explorers, men of grit. And yet, at the heart of it, they are just tired men, tired of schedules, tired of the grind, tired of being expected to know what they're doing when they so often don't. But they press on. The boat launches, and almost immediately, the struggle begins. Not with the river, but with themselves. They argue about directions, about rowing, about food. They fight over mustard. They share stories that begin as comedy and quietly shift into something tender. Childhood memories, lost love, fleeting moments of beauty. There's a moment when they attempt to open a can of pineapple and fail so miserably it becomes almost philosophical. A scene so ridiculous, yet strangely profound. Because it isn't just about the can, it's about how life constantly refuses to cooperate with our plans. They stop at old churches, haunted inns, empty fields. And every place holds a different kind of echo. Some echoes are full of laughter. Others are stained with history, grief, or longing. Even the dog, Montmorency, becomes more than just comic relief. He's chaos incarnate, a little reflection of their wild impulses and need for control. The deeper they move into the trip, the clearer it becomes. This journey isn't about travel. It's about truth. Not capital T truth, but the small, honest, awkward truths we spend most of our lives covering up. By the third day, the river seems to settle, but the men don't. They wake to damp clothes, aching backs, and a sky that can't make up its mind. George insists on navigating. Harris wants more food. Jay just wants quiet. They row for hours, but cover barely any distance. They attempt to set up camp, but their tent collapses, and somehow, the fire never catches. Even the act of boiling tea turns into a battle of egos and philosophies. Everyone thinks they know the best way. No one listens. They begin to suspect that the river isn't the problem. It's themselves. Harris tells a story about getting lost in a maze, a tale so bizarre and convoluted that even he forgets what he's trying to prove. George recalls a time he played the banjo so terribly that he was politely asked to stop by people 3 houses away. And Jay, ever the observer, slips in and out of narration, mixing real emotions with imagined tragedies in a way that makes you laugh and then, strangely, reflect. Because beneath the absurdity, there's something raw. These men aren't fools. They're just painfully honest about the fact that life is messy. And in this boat, there's no hiding. No social masks. No roles to perform. They're exposed to the rain, to the cold, and most of all, to each other. At one point, they try cooking stew. They each contribute something to the pot: leftovers, spices, a questionable bit of cheese. The result is revolting. But they eat it anyway, together, because they made it together. That stew becomes a symbol, not of failure, but of trying, of compromise, of shared struggle that tastes awful, and still somehow brings them closer. The moments of nature they do enjoy, the sunrise over the river, the stillness of a foggy morning, the flight of a bird above the reeds feel sacred. Not because they're perfect, but because they're fleeting. They pass without warning, just like life. Then comes the storm. A real one this time. Relentless rain, thunder, wind. The river turns cruel. Their boat takes on water. Their spirits collapse. And for once, they all agree. This isn't fun anymore. This isn't escape. This is just cold, wet, and miserable. They abandon the trip. They pull into shore. They find a warm hotel. They change into dry clothes, order a hot meal, sit by the fire, and listen to the rain fall outside the window. And in that moment, laughing, dry, safe, they realize maybe they weren't searching for adventure. Maybe they were just searching for each other, for the comfort of simple company, for the truth that even the most ridiculous journey can matter if it's shared. As the days pass, the men reflect on their journey, not the river trip they had imagined, but the one they actually lived. They come to understand that life, like their trip, isn't about perfection or grand achievements. It's about the small, imperfect moments filled with laughter, frustration, and, sometimes, quiet despair. Jerome's writing isn't just comedy, it's a mirror held up to humanity's quirks. The foibles, the follies, the everyday struggles we all face, but rarely admit out loud. The three men, with their endless bickering and heartfelt camaraderie, remind us that friendship isn't always polished. It's often messy, complicated, and absolutely necessary. Montmorency, the spirited fox terrier, is more than a companion. He's a symbol of untamed life. His antics disrupt their plans, but also bring them joy. His wild energy balances their cautious minds, reminding us all to embrace chaos once in a while. Through every failed attempt to navigate, every burned meal, and every shared joke, the story reveals a deeper truth, that the journey itself, the unpredictable, frustrating, beautiful trip, is what shapes us, not the destination. For listeners in the US and Canada, where we often rush toward goals and achievements, Three Men in a Boat offers a timeless reminder. Sometimes, it's okay to slow down, to laugh at yourself, and to find peace in the company of friends, even if the boat rocks and the tea spills. And even after all the mishaps, the men decide that despite everything, they'll try again someday. Because the river, like life, calls you back no matter how many times you stumble. The humor in Three Men in a Boat is effortless but sharp. Jerome captures the everyday absurdities that many of us experience but rarely talk about, like the frustration of packing, the chaos of travel, and the unpredictable nature of human plans. His wit doesn't just entertain, it exposes the little lies we tell ourselves about control and certainty. But beneath the laughter lies a subtle melancholy, a wistfulness for simpler times, and the fleeting nature of happiness. The men's conversations often wander into philosophy, nostalgia, and even regret. It's as if the river's slow current carries away not just their boat, but their youth and illusions. Their journey is peppered with encounters, eccentric strangers, curious locals, and peculiar incidents that each add layers to the story's rich tapestry. From an awkward meeting with a stern priest to a humorous mishap with a stubborn horse, every event is a vignette about humanity's contradictions. And then there's the rhythm of the Thames itself, a character in its own right. Calm yet unpredictable, beautiful yet unforgiving. The river reflects the trio's moods, swelling with excitement one moment, ebbing with disappointment the next. For your viewers in the US and Canada, this narrative will feel both foreign and familiar. The English countryside might be distant, but the themes are universal: friendship, failure, resilience, and the search for meaning in everyday life. Three Men in a Boat isn't just a travelogue, it's a portrait of friendship tested by time and trials. It's about accepting imperfections in others and ourselves, and finding humor even when life seems to be a series of blunders. As the journey unfolds, the men's bond deepens, not through grand gestures or heroic feats, but through shared vulnerability and relentless good humor. They bicker like brothers, sometimes snap at each other, but ultimately their friendship is the anchor that keeps them afloat amid the unpredictable currents of the Thames and their own lives. Jerome's brilliance lies in how he captures these small, relatable moments, like the debate over who should carry the bags, the futile attempt to fish, or the mishap of accidentally tipping over the boat's contents. These scenes, while hilarious, remind us of something profound. Life's beauty often lives in its imperfections. And as the trio faces each absurd setback, from mosquito swarms to failed navigation, they also face their own fears and doubts. The trip becomes a metaphor for life itself, a journey without guarantees, full of unexpected detours and rich with moments that are frustrating, joyful, and strangely meaningful. For listeners across North America, where life can feel fast-paced and compartmentalized, Three Men in a Boat offers a gentle invitation to pause, laugh at life's unpredictability, and treasure the simple moments with friends. Montmorency, the scrappy dog, adds another layer of depth, not just comic relief, but a symbol of unfiltered living. His antics disrupt the men's plans, but also remind them, and us, to embrace life's wildness, even when it upends our carefully laid plans. This book isn't about a perfect holiday. It's about the messiness of being human. The frustrations, the humor, the unexpected friendships, and the quiet moments of reflection that make the journey worthwhile. As we come to the close of this winding journey along the Thames with Jerome, George, Harris, and Montmorency, what lingers isn't just laughter, but a quiet understanding of life's unpredictable nature. Three Men in a Boat is more than a travelogue or a comedy. It's a timeless reflection on friendship, human folly, and the beauty found in imperfection. Through every spilled tea, tangled rope, and muddled plan, these three ordinary men reveal something extraordinary, that the real voyage isn't measured in miles traveled, but in moments shared. Their mishaps and misadventures become a mirror, reflecting our own struggles with control, our need for connection, and the joy of simply being together, even when things go hilariously wrong. For audiences in the US and Canada, this story is a gentle reminder to slow down, embrace life's messiness, and find humor and warmth in the everyday chaos. It teaches us that it's okay to be imperfect, to stumble, and to laugh at ourselves. And in a world that often pushes us to rush forward, Three Men in a Boat invites us to pause, to breathe, and to savor the journey itself, friendship in all its flawed glory, the unpredictable beauty of nature, and the small, unforgettable moments that make life truly rich. So whether you've ever struggled with packing a bag, lost your way, or just needed a good laugh to brighten a tough day, this timeless classic offers comfort, humor, and a little wisdom wrapped in a boatload of charm. Thank you for joining me on this adventure with Three Men in a Boat. If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of literature's most enduringly funny and human stories, be sure to subscribe to Book Leash for more thoughtful book journeys. Because every story has a river to cross, and the best ones remind us who we are along the way. Life's journey isn't always smooth sailing. It's full of bumps, spills, and plenty of laughs along the way. Three Men in a Boat reminds us that friendship, humor, and embracing imperfection are what truly keep us afloat. If this story made you smile, think, or just brightened your day, don't forget to subscribe to Book Leash for more unforgettable book adventures. Your next great read is just a click away.